Welcome back to From the Bookshelf with another weekly download. So we're back again with the books I've been reading for this week. So just as a reminder, I'll be giving you the title, the author, and the rating out of 1 to 10 of what I thought of the book. If it was an audiobook, I'll also be giving you the narrator and a rating on the production of the audiobook itself. So let's get started for this week. Our first one is an audiobook. I have the physical one here, is Asylum by Madeleine Roux. So this book I gave an 8 out of 10. It's about a group of teens going to a college courses during the summer, and they're staying in a haunted asylum as their dormitory. It's really good. The narrator was Michael Goldstrom, and I also gave him an 8 out of 10 because he did really well narrating the book. The only thing that wasn't as good with the audio was that the book itself has images throughout the book that go along with the story that of course don't translate when it comes to audio. And then we have another audiobook. It's called Congo by Michael Crichton. In this book, a group of scientists go out to the Congo to try and find blue diamonds. And they take along another scientist who has a gorilla named Amy, who he has taught to talk using sign language. And they go out to the same area because that is where she was found as an infant and where she's from. And of course, if you know anything about the book, or maybe have seen the movie, then you kind of know that there's a lost city and lots of mystery going on. I gave the book itself an 8 out of 10. And the narrator, Whelan, I gave a 7 out of 10. The narration wasn't as good as I thought, but it was still fun to listen to. And then we have Angel Mage by Garth Nix. This is his newest book. It's a standalone book, and if you know anything about Garth Nix, and a lot of the books he writes kind of have the fantasy and magic feel like that stuff with the Old Kingdom series that he has. This is a lot like that one, but it's kind of its own book. It's really good. The people in the characters in the book are able to summon angels to their aid, and it's just really fun. And I really like Garth Nix as an author, so I was really excited to get this book. I gave it a 9 out of 10, and it's definitely worth a read for young adults, or really anyone. And then I have a graphic novel. This is, I think, the first one I've done so far on the channel. This is Blue Exorcist. It is volume number 23, so it's the 23rd book in the series. It's really good. It's about a group of exorcists who fight demons and that kind of thing. And they're all going to school to learn how to become exorcists. And one of the teens in the group is actually the son of Satan. So he has like special abilities, and they're not sure if they can trust him, but he's like the best character, hands down. So this one I gave a 6 out of 10. I know it seems low, and I said that they're really good, and they are. I kind of look at the story as a whole, and as a whole, I give this particular series probably an 8 out of 10, so it's a definite read. This one wasn't quite my favorite because it's more of like in the past, like what happened previously with the main character's mother and when she was pregnant with him, so it wasn't my favorite, but it's definitely a must read if you read this series. And then we're moving on to our next audiobook, which was Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. I love Anne Rice, and I love the Vampire Chronicles series. I've read it several times, and I've read this one several times. It's the first time I've listened to it, I believe. So the book itself, I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I love it. I've read it like 3 or 4 times. The narrator of this was Simon Vance, and I gave him a 7 out of 10. I wasn't the biggest fan of the audio. I thought it was good, and I enjoyed listening to it. However, sometimes he would do voices and accents, and it kind of threw me out of the story. But otherwise, it's an amazing book, and it's kind of a fun listen. So give it a shot. Then we have The Select by F. Paul Wilson. So if you watched my last video, there was a couple books from this author on that one. This one is a little less supernatural horror like the other two. This one is more of a thriller and a mystery about a girl who gets into a medical school, and they're doing kind of experiments and things like that, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. This book I gave a 7 out of 10. It's maybe not the best book of his, but it's still fun. I liked it, and if you like horror or mystery, then it's certainly one you should look into. So then we have another Rogue Angel book. So this one is Magic Lantern. The author's name on it is Alex Archer for the series, although the books in this series are ghostwritten, so every book has a different author within the series. This particular one was written by Mel Odom. He's one of the better ones that write the series, and I usually tend to like his books a little bit more than others. So I gave this one a 7 out of 10. And these books are fun. Quick, easy reads. I mean, if you like mystery, a little bit of adventure, a strong female leading lady, then it's definitely one you might want to look into as a whole. So then we have 2 more of the Twitches series. So I read books 5 and 6 this week. The number 5 is Don't Think Twice, and then we have Double Jeopardy. So these ones I gave 5 out of 10 overall. So I mean, it's the kind of series where if you're a preteen, maybe a young teen, that you'll probably most likely enjoy it. They're fun, there's magic, there's mystery, there's the leading ladies are teenage girls, and they're pretty badass. But overall, the books aren't quite as good as I remember them from when I was in high school and I read them originally. But that being said, I'm still enjoying them, and I'll continue reading the last 4 books. Maybe we'll get a higher score with the next set. Alright, so then the next book is called No Excuses. It's by Kyle Maynard. It is a true story, and it's a great book. It's a memoir by someone who has is a genetic disability, who was born with shortened arms and legs. I believe it's called congenital amputee or something, I believe. Sorry if I get that wrong. But it's basically him growing up and basically throughout middle school and high school learning to wrestle and becoming a wrestling champion despite his disability. It's an amazing story, and it's well worth a read. I gave it a 9 out of 10. It's more than just inspirational. It's well written, and it's just a great story all the way around. And then our final book is Sofia Petrova by Lydia Chukovskaya. I don't know, it's got 2 names, the title and the author. So it's about a woman, Sofia Petrova, during the 1930s in Russia, during the Stalin purges, where people were being arrested and thrown into prison camps, not because they'd done anything, but because that was going on. Like, hundreds of thousands of people were thrown in these prison camps for no more reason than they had a friendship when they were a child, or had a conversation with someone, or was seen talking to someone. And so her son is thrown into prison, and it's about her trying to find out what's going on and dealing with this in her life. It's a really good book. It's super short. It's more of a novella than a novel itself. So it's a little over 100 pages. It's well written. It's easy to read and quick to get through. And it's definitely interesting to see a different side of things that you might not have realized was going on in Russia during those times. Just like Cement that I talked about last week. This is another one that I read in my Russian literature class in college. So if you like this kind of thing, the historical type of fiction, then go ahead and check this out. I gave this one a 7 out of 10. It's well worth a read. It's definitely as good as I remember from the first time. So that's it. That's all I have this week. That's all I've read for this past week. So thank you for joining me. I had fun talking about these books. I will leave down in the description below the title, the author, and the ratings for all the books that I talked about. So you can decide if you want to check them out or not. And stick around for next week when we have another weekly download. Have a nice day.